Okay, calling to order the regular planning commission meeting, City of Riverbank for today, Tuesday, July 15th, 2025. Roll call, please.
Chair Tidy Zamora,
Here.
Vice Chair Michael Sid Alterman,
Here.
Commissioner John Dinan,
Here.
and Commissioner Jones Stewart is absent. Commissioner Natasha Basso
Here.
and Commissioner Alternate Ben Rubin is absent. And Commissioner Alternate Armando Rodriguez filling in for Joan.
Here.
Any planning commission member or staff who has a direct conflict of interest on any scheduled agenda item to be considered is to declare their conflict at this time.
Chair, I don't have a conflict, but full disclosure, I attended a meeting last Saturday with Mr. Nuno, the consultant on this project, Vice Mayor Bassi, and three gentlemen from the neighborhood of this proposed project. It was strictly informational.
Okay. Public comments. At this time, members of the public may comment on any item not appearing on the agenda and within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Planning Commission Board. Individual comments will be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes, and time cannot be yielded to another person. Under state law, matters presented during the public comment period cannot be discussed or acted upon. For record purposes, state your name and city of residence. Please make your comments directly to the Planning Commission members. So public comments are open on anything not appearing on the agenda. Okay, seeing none, we'll close public comments. We'll move on to the consent calendar. All items listed on the consent calendar are to be acted upon by a single action of the Planning Commission Board unless requested by an individual Planning Commission member or member of the public for special consideration. Otherwise, the recommendation of staff will be accepted and acted upon by motion of the Planning Commission Board. There are 2 items. Item 2.1 is the posting of the agenda. The agenda for the July 15th, 2025 Planning Commission meeting was posted on the City Community Center Bulletin Board, City Hall North and South Bulletin Boards, Post Office, City website, and email to the library on July 10th, 2025. And item 2.2, approval of the July 15th, 2025 agenda. This provides an opportunity for the Planning Commission or staff to recommend that an item be placed on the agenda for discussion or to adjust the proposed agenda to allow an item to be taken out of order. I will entertain a motion accepting the consent calendar.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Chair Zamora,
Yes.
Vice Chair Alterman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dinan,
Yes.
Commissioner Basso,
Yes.
and Commissioner Rodriguez.
Yes.
Approved 5-0.
Motion passes. Okay, moving on to the public hearing. We have item 3.1, which is an architecture and site plan review number 07-2024, and also involves resolution 2025-13. That resolution is going to be amended as published. Item 4 of the resolution, which reads, whereas the proposed project is consistent with the permitted uses of the mixed use designation of the downtown specific plan, which allows multifamily residential uses. That item will be stricken when it comes time to vote.
Good evening, Commissioners. Good evening, Chair. Michael Arroyo, Contract Planner with the City of Riverbank, Associate Planner with JB Anderson Land Use Planning. Before you this evening for your consideration is Architecture Site Plan Review, ASPR 07-2024. So the subject property, it's located at 2644 Morrill Road. The subject property is approximately 2.4 acres in size and has a general plan land use designation of higher density residential. And it sits within the, within the R3 or multiple family residential R3 zoning district. So the applicant this evening is seeking Planning Commission approval for an architecture site plan review to allow for the development of a market rate 48 unit multifamily residential apartment complex. So the image on the left is a photo taken last week. It shows existing conditions. And the photo on the right is an aerial image. The project site is outlined in red, and the yellow triangle shows sort of the point of view from where the photo was taken along Morrill Road. Sorry. Yeah. Sweet. Thank you. So here we get a look at the proposed site plan. We can see that the subject property is bounded by an MID canal to the west, and it's kind of cut off, but to the east are a few single family residential properties, and also Quail Meadows Mobile Home Park. As is noted on the slide, it shows the setbacks for the surrounding structures, or for the structures, excuse me. On each side, the setbacks meet the development standards for the R3 zone. They meet or exceed the development standards for R3 zone, excuse me. Again, the proposed project consists of a 48-unit multifamily residential apartment complex. As you can see there, there are 4 standalone buildings. They are 3 stories tall, and each floor of the buildings includes four residential units. As proposed, there are 72 parking stalls, and that also meets the requirements for off-street parking. As a condition of approval, along the western boundary of the project site that spans along the MID Canal, a 6-foot tall CMU wall will be constructed. And then on the eastern portion of the project site, a 6-foot tall wood fence will also be constructed. So here we get just a zoomed in look of the proposed site plan for the buildings 3 and 4. And what this is meant to do is to illustrate and to show you commissioners the orientation of how the patio and the decks will be oriented. And the applicant worked with staff to ensure and provide the most privacy possible, both for new residents as well as existing residents in the area. So you'll notice on building 3 and building 4, the outdoor space for each unit is oriented north and south, facing north and south. And then we'll get a better picture of how those are closed in on each of all 3 sides, except for how it's open. It's all closed in essentially on 3 sides. And then again, it shows the setbacks which meet and exceed the development standards. Additionally, you can see there in the road in the middle of the 2 apartment buildings is a ladder truck, which essentially is a standard practice. This project is referred to the Consolidated Fire Protection District. So conditions of approval have been applied to this project, excuse me. And as such, both the layout, the site plan, and the circulation meets the standards of the fire district. What that dashed line shows is that from hydrants to engine, a maximum of 600 feet is, the maximum permitted. And so that's what that illustrates. Additionally, the site plan also meets the requirement for a maximum of 100 feet of backing up. And so that's why you see an engine truck there. Sweet. So here we get a first look at the proposed architecture. It's comprised of neutral colors, mostly including natural tan and steel colored siding. We see that on all elevations, you see those metal awnings for both architectural detail and functional utility. Additionally, you see that the apex of the roof, it's kind of cut off, I apologize. The apex of the roof is 41 feet and 1 inch. And then the beginning of the roof is 30 feet, 6 inches. So that meets the development standards of the maximum height of 45 feet in that R3 zone. So here we get our first look of the architectural renderings from Morrill Road. You see 3 of the 4 buildings there. And there you can kind of get a better picture of how those patios and decks are oriented and how they're closed in and only open on one side. Get another look, and also as these slides show that there are 2 points of access onto and off of Morrill Road. So as proposed, the floor plans are pretty homogeneous in design. They're pretty similar. They all include 2 bedrooms, 2 bath, just under 1,000 square feet, and offer outdoor space, patio, and decks. And there also includes 1 on-site manager unit and a trash enclosure and 1 maintenance building. So this is the proposed landscaping plan. It's approximately 44,000 square feet in aggregate. It's comprised of a variety of trees and shrubs. Trees include Chinese pistache, magnolia, and crepe myrtles, and various shrubs that also provide screening for HVAC units. And then we'll get a look here at the rear portion of the project site, the southern portion. That includes, the project as a whole includes a number of amenities for the residents to enjoy. But at this portion of the project site, it includes a lot of stuff. So it includes a dog park, a dedicated dog park, picnic, ADA accessible picnic benches and picnic tables, a large shade structure, excuse me, and then obviously the big green, over 3,500 square feet of multi-use turf area. And so this project is both consistent with the city's general plan policies as well as the city's zoning ordinance. Now, the project has been designed to ensure that the scale of the multifamily structures fit with the surrounding neighborhood and have been strategically placed to provide both a variation or a variety, excuse me, throughout the project site. The proposed project is exempt from CEQA as per the CEQA guidelines that you see there for qualified housing projects. So staff's recommendation to the Planning Commission is to adopt resolution number 2513 to approve this architecture site plan before you this evening. And with that, that concludes staff's presentation. I am here to answer any questions you may have, as well as the applicant's architect as well. So, thank you.
Curiosity question. My misspent youth in the Bay Area, there was a requirement for a 3-story facility to have an elevator. Is this project, assuming there'll be elevators in each complex?
I'm not aware of an elevator, but I think maybe the applicant can answer that.
Thank you.
I had a couple questions. One of them was that. Thank you, John, for asking that. I'm assuming, I didn't look that closely at the interior architecture. I'm assuming that the ground level units are they ADA accessible for residents to come in there and move through with the path of travel and that?
Yes, sir. Yeah, and then also, Commissioner, I didn't make mention of it, but there are ADA accessible ramps throughout the project site.
Right, okay. I just had a couple odd questions about the site plan that you showed the park area. Maybe this is an older exhibit or maybe it is mislabeled. They show an existing chain link fence running along the canal. The label there says existing chain link fence to remain or repair. And that's contrary to one of the conditions of building a masonry wall along the east side of the MID canal. So is that just a mislabeling?
So yeah, so that was submitted, but that is misstated. It will be required to construct, and that's also a Modesto Irrigation District standard condition.
Right.
So-
That, yeah, exactly.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so it'll be a CMU wall for sure.
And then I was just curious, to the east, the single family residentials, that's zoned R1 there, I believe.
Yes, sir.
I don't remember if our code here requires any special barrier masonry wall or different fence when you're changing zones, but R1 to R3, I think maybe doesn't.
Yes, Ed, I'll jump in and clarify that for you. So if we had different land uses like commercial, residential, that's where the trigger would be. When you have
Right.
basically conflicting land uses. In this particular case, they look at it as non-conflicting or
Right.
cohesive land uses. So
Sure.
no block walls required. The one situation along the canal, it's a requirement of MID just to protect their irrigation facilities.
Right. And that seems like a good safety thing. And I guess the question then becomes the existing fence on the rear of those lots there and along the mobile home park it's a little bit older. Did I hear correctly that this project is going to construct a new fence along the new 6-foot fence?
Yes, sir. That's a condition of approval.
So all the residents there would get, new rear fence and that. All
Yeah.
right. I need somebody to build behind me and get me a new fence. Thank you.
Any other commissioner comments?
I just have a really quick question out of curiosity for buildings 3 and 4 on the east side where the setbacks are about 25 feet. Those windows are like what you call the clerestory windows, right? They're just skylights. So the residents on the other side just keep their privacy.
Yes, sir. Yep. Precisely.
Okay, we'll open it up to public comments on this particular project. If there's anybody here with a public comment. I do want to mention that the commissioners did receive 3 letters as well, and we each got a copy of those letters regarding comments regarding the project. So public comments regarding the project.
Hello, my name's Robert Calvo. I live at 5925 Newbrook, which is the second house in on the east side that we were just looking at. And my question is, 2 years ago, I got tired of looking at the eyesore behind us. And my fence was older, to say if you were lucky, Michael, to get a new tenant and put a fence up behind you. I invested in that. I did it to code and 7 foot, installed professionally. And I did it for privacy, not to look at that mess and not knowing what was going to happen one day, but it's only 2 years old. And now we're talking about a 6 foot fence when I have the newest fence professionally put in of the 5 houses on the east side. So I know, I think the regulations changed in the city. It was 8 when I had my fence done. I think it's 7 now. But is there any way we can make some type of consideration because my neighbor on the south of me, he put his in himself last summer. His is 7 foot. So there's 2 of us with 7 foot and there's 3 of us that have old, bad shaped fences that they would be happy to get them replaced. I'm sure they would. But I'm wondering, what do we do in a situation like this?
Josh?
Sure. Let me just add in real quick. And I don't want to put words in the applicant's mouth. They may want to come up and speak on this issue. But in my experience on these items, I think it'd be beneficial to build the new fence, within the current property boundaries of the apartment site. Therefore, it allows the residents to either leave their fence in place or tear it down if they so choose.
Okay, who makes that decision?
The commission could certainly condition it, add that condition on. Again, though, the applicant may already be planning to do that. I'm just not aware if he is.
Okay, can we get the applicant to make a comment on that, please?
My name's Kevin. I'm a project architect with RGA, and we do architecture and engineering. We're from Chico, and I came down 3 hours to be with you here today. On behalf of my team, we're happy to present the project to you, and also, of course, our colleague and client, Annie. I was taking notes of questions, and I want to answer them, but I'm here to answer any questions. I think that's sort of the tone of why we're here today, is to hear concerns from commission members, from staff, and from neighbors too. So Annie is a local community member herself. She's a business leader here in the local area as well. And having worked with Annie for many, many years, I know that her attitude is let's get it done, which means let's listen to the concerns of everybody. And if we have answers to those questions, we'd be happy to provide them to you. So from the top, we talked about elevators. Just a point of clarification on the accessibility part. The building code requires that we provide what are called adaptable units. So those units by default won't be fully accessible, but they have every provision inside of them that they can easily be switched over to an accessible unit. Should somebody in need of those services want to reside on a ground floor, which of course is prescribed by the California Building Code, so full compliance there. The fence along the canal, sharp eye, the issue there was that we had submitted this project before the irrigation district had gotten back to us. So we thought that it was going to be a requirement. We didn't know that yet. So the great way to solve that is a condition of approval, and a cinder block wall will be built there. On the other side, the fence that goes up against the R1 zoning, the project plans left that kind of open, and I'll speak on behalf of Annie here that the intent is to do what's right. And if there is a dilapidated fence that's there, building a new fence is a requirement of the project. If that dilapidated fence does not want to remain in place, the owner of that home doesn't want to keep that dilapidated fence, it would be removed as part of the project. Of course, there would have to be agreements in place, and Annie is happy to talk to those owners on a case-by-case basis if that's appropriate, or if the commission conditions that every fence along there has to go away. That's probably a little more complicated, right? Because it's up to the individual property owners. However, that needs to be conditioned or addressed as part of this approval. I could speak on behalf of Annie and say that we're here to do what's right, whatever the owners of those homes may think that is. And then, yes, you're right about the windows on the buildings that face towards those single-family residences. We tried our best to make sure that the architecture wasn't imposing, both by the height, but also the configuration of the windows that face towards the east there. So they are higher. They open only onto bedrooms, so there's not folks that are actually living or sitting in their kitchen and looking out their windows into somebody else's backyard. Of course, bedrooms are only occupied during certain hours of the day, and those windows don't go down to waist height. They go about here up to higher. So they're getting light in, but they're not letting people see in other people's backyards. I think that answers it. So don't know rules of play here, but I'm here to answer any questions, whether I stand here or over there. Just shout out. We're happy to answer.
Yes.
Yeah, would you repeat what you said about the height of the windows? They're gonna be above?
It might be helpful to have a slide of that, and I don't have control. Well, I guess I do have control over that. Is it this guy here? Let's go back then. There was one slide, if I'm not mistaken, that showed the elevation of the building. Not quite visible in that view, but there's a good picture of it. You can see on the building that's closest to us, it's not the building in question, but it's similar to that. See on the left-hand side of that building, there's a bit of architectural interest on that elevation, and there's those smaller windows. Those windows are at about shoulder height and above. And you can see that by looking to the right, those windows on the face of the building there, those are at about waist height and above. So we did our best to push them up.
Thank you.
I just want to be sure that I understand the concern of the neighbor and the fence issue. Are you wanting all the fences to be uniform height? Is that what you're asking? If they're all going to be the same height, or whether there's going to be double fencing behind you?
Not just because his neighbor north, on 7 foot, but I don't think moving in here, he's putting it, those cats must go back there either, you know, prior to clean up their food. So one height, whether, you know, if they be 7 foot on the backside or 15 fences, I mean, whatever, but I mean, at least one height, like I said. Maybe poor timing on my behalf, and my neighbor, or, you know, maybe not, but he decided to go 7 foot, but the city allowed that. That's what we want to do, and everybody else is still at 6 because they're existing. I'm pretty sure my neighbor on my north, if nothing was happening today, he would probably, when he did this, go 7 feet, because look at it's in their 15, but it's not their next.
Yeah, just for the record, you have to restrict the recycling. It would have to be on the.
Okay, so in clarifying, his request was for the fences to all be the uniform height of 7 feet versus doubling up the fence and having varying heights of fence, which was his request. Correct? Yeah. So now from our standpoint, can we condition the approval of the resolution for all fences to be the same height and to tie into the existing 2 fences that have been replaced? Is that something that we can do? Okay. So would we need to make a motion and then amend the resolution at that point? I'm
Yeah,
not
I
a
would
parliamentarian.
recommend we just make a motion including a condition that all fences on the eastern property line, I believe so, be at least 7 feet or uniform 7 feet in height.
Okay. Are there any more public comments? Yes, come up to the microphone, please.
I'm curious what the demographic. Oh, my name is Alicia, first day, and I live on Morel, at 2719. I'm curious what the demographic is going to be for these apartments and how it's going to affect, the pricing of my house.
I believe these are market rate apartments, so there's not going to be any restrictions as to who can live there. There's going to be subject to fair housing laws, everything that normally happens with multi-housing, multi-unit housing, yeah.
Are there any projections on how it's going to impact the value of my home?
That I don't know. Market conditions fluctuate daily, monthly, yearly, it just,
Typically, an apartment complex in a housing area reduces the value of the home, and that's a concern for me. How do
Okay.
I get more information on how this particular project is going to impact the value of my home?
gosh, yep, I don't think that's quantifiable per se.
Yeah, I'm not sure it is. Michael, did you have anything to add on this?
I can just say about the site specifically. So as it relates to the city council took action on this site back in 2017. As it relates to the city's, you know how we're going through the 6th cycle housing element? So previously in the 5th cycle housing element, the city initiated such that it would remain compliant with state law. The city identified this subject property that it could accommodate high density residential, meaning that it was prime for development at 20 units per acre, such that the proposed project before you this evening meets that standard. So basically, staff at that time did analysis and said that a development at 20 units per acre this site could accommodate that. Now, that impact on surrounding properties, I don't know if that was a consideration. I don't think that it was, but that this site specifically was, the city initiated a general plan amendment to redesignate the subject property from low density residential to higher density residential, and to rezone the subject property from single family residential to higher density residential, or excuse me, multifamily. So I just FYI, so that you're fully informed of the project site and its history. So.
Thank you. I think, as a real estate agent, I'm familiar with market fluctuations and how there's variables that impact a variety of things regarding property values. To help address that, my question would be for the project, how is maintenance going to take place here? I saw that there was an on-site manager. Are they in charge of maintaining the property? What is the maintenance of the property going to be?
Yeah, good question. And thank you, Alicia. I'll speak on behalf of Annie here. She's a community member first and a business leader second. She's proud of what she does in the local communities, and you could see that by going to any one of her businesses. If you walk in the front door of any one of Annie's properties, it's spick and span, it's clean, it's maintained, the people there are professional and polite. And I'm not speaking out of turn here by saying that I have no doubt that this project will be the same. To answer your specific question, there is a manager's unit on site. We've also devoted what you could see on the far left there, which is a small maintenance building, to the upkeep of the properties. So the intent is to keep it the same way that Annie always likes it and maintain it as is required.
Great, thank you. Any other further comments regarding this item? Okay, then we're going to move. I'd like a motion approving architectural site plan review with resolution number 2025-013, removing item 4 from the resolution as it was published, which reads, whereas the proposed project is consistent with the permitted uses of the mixed use designation of the downtown specific plan, which allows multifamily residential uses, and then also condition the resolution to indicate for the fences on the east side to be all uniform height of 7 feet. I'll need a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call.
Chair, Zamora,
Yes.
Vice Chair Alterman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dynan,
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez,
Yes.
and Commissioner Basso.
Yes.
It's approved 5-0.
Okay, moving on to planning commission comments. Are there any comments from any planning commissioner?
I'll just add that the groundbreaking ceremony for North County Corridor happened, was last week. And construction is underway, so just everybody be warned and aware that there's gonna be a lot more increased traffic and construction and maybe a little congestion going on there, especially in the eastern parts of Clarabelle at Terminal. It's a long-term project, and so there will be quite a bit going on there, but just to make sure you're aware of it and keep that in mind when you're trying to pass through that area, maybe in the mornings and afternoons during the heavy commute times.
A little congestion?
Any other comments? Okay, any referrals or correspondence to review?
Other than the two letters that I provided the commissioners before the meeting, no other correspondence.
Okay. And any staff comments?
I do have a couple of comments. I also went to the North County Corridor groundbreaking, so it's kind of an exciting project. I know there's varying views on it in the community. So one of the things I've been trying to clarify with the county are road closures, impacts to our daily routine, taking kids to school, going to the shopping center, whatnot. So I hope to have some further information in the next few weeks I could share with the commission. I think the story I've gotten from the county so far is things are a little bit in flux. So they're trying to narrow down exactly when those road closures will affect us. I wanted to mention a couple of things. The housing element was resubmitted back to HCD on June 24th. That's a 60-day review by HCD. Hopefully, if there's no additional modifications needed, we'll have that back in front of the Planning Commission and City Council in the near future for adoption. The other thing I wanted to mention is that there's been an announcement in the shopping center of a new tenant in one of the larger buildings, which would be just east of the Costco buildings that are under construction now. We call it Major 4. It was announced that that's going to be a Hobby Lobby. So that's a little exciting. And also in the shopping center, just wanted to hit on that Raising Cane's will have a grand opening August 12th. And that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And with that, tonight's meeting is adjourned.